That's right. We're going to be talking about the most infamous autism organization out there, Autism Speaks. If you've never heard of Autism Speaks, first off, how? You'd have to probably be living under a rock if you don't know who Autism Speaks is. But if you haven't, Autism Speaks is a nonprofit autism organization founded in 2005 by Bob and Suzanne Wright, grandparents to an autistic child named Christian. They are probably best known for popularizing the puzzle piece symbol for autism awareness, as well as their association with their Light It Up Blue campaign. They've even distributed a film called Autism Every Day, as well as merging with 3 other now defunct autism organizations, which on their website they seem to be proud of. Not to mention they recently put out a video saying they're changing and being more inclusive. These guys are everywhere. I've even recently seen what looks like to be a poster by Autism Speaks in the background of a certain medical drama, which happens to be Grey's Anatomy. You would think that Autism Speaks, given that they have done a lot of work helping parents of autistic people out there by spreading awareness about autism and giving them needed information about autism, they will be supported by autistic people, right? Well, let me show you what I think about Autism Speaks. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, these guys are the devil. And I'm not the only autistic person out there who thinks so. Many of us in the autistic community are vehemently against Autism Speaks, and it's not just because of their puzzle piece logo, which some of you already know how I feel about it, as well as many others. Oh no, there are some things that they did and still do that are not well received by the autistic community. We will be going over a few of these things, some of which explain why I don't support Autism Speaks. These things are just the general reasons why many of us don't like an organization like this. I will not, however, be going over the history of Autism Speaks. If you want that, there are comprehensive videos on YouTube made by 2 YouTubers by the names of Stephanie Bethany and iilluminaughtii. They are absolutely great. I highly recommend watching those when you have the time. I'll link those in the description. Anyway, here are the reasons why you shouldn't support the most successful autism organization out there, Autism Speaks. Number 1. Autism Speaks isn't as great of a charity as you might think. Despite being a successful autism organization, Autism Speaks has failed to help families with autistic people. Only a small portion of the money actually goes to families who have autistic people. Only a small portion of the money that were donated by people who are or were unaware of Autism Speaks' true intentions actually go to said families. The rest goes into either autism research or fundraising efforts. Doing this ignores the needs of autistic people and their families. An article by Odyssey points out that this sort of research is problematic because it is part of seeking a cure for autism and can be interpreted as an attempt at eugenics. As an autistic person who is part of the autistic community, this is already disheartening to us that Autism Speaks isn't directing much of the money that they get donated into helping us, but that's just scratching the surface of it. Number 2. Autism Speaks has a history of being ableist. Remember when I said that some autism organizations use ableist language? Autism Speaks is one of those organizations. They have a history of using scare tactics to make the parents fear the child's autism and think that their autism is affecting their lives. They were actively looking for a cure, not just for Christian, who happens to be the founder's grandchild, but also for anyone who is affected by autism. Granted, they took off the fact that they were looking for a cure off their mission statement. Even so, they have painted autism as a disease that needs to be treated, which has always been their goal from the beginning. You guys already know that autistic people don't view autism as a disease, but rather a difference. But we're not done yet. Number 3. Autism Speaks has ableist and dangerous marketing. If this is surprising to you, I don't blame you. I didn't know until I decided to look up why autistic people don't like Autism Speaks. This was even before I decided to let the world know that I'm autistic. And I don't care if they know I am. Hashtag autistic pride. But anyway, I was digging and I eventually found a video that was made by none other than your friendly neighborhood Autism Speaks. And it turns out this video is one of their most infamous videos that they have ever made. It's an offensive video that portrays autism as a silent and malevolent killer. You can view the entire commercial, and yes, it was a commercial, on YouTube, which I will link in the description. I must warn you, it's... oh man, I cannot stress this enough. very offensive. But to give you the rundown, it's basically a video showing clips of varying autistic children and adults, I guess, as a dark and threatening voice announces themselves as "I am autism," which the video was named after. As the video progresses, the voice says that they know where you live and that they work faster than pediatric AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined, as well as making sure your marriage fails. This is very heartbreaking that an autism organization that claims to be helping autistic people, mind you, and their families would stab them in the back with this video. They have since removed the video, but they have yet to apologize for making the video. I know I said you could still watch it on YouTube. It's a re-upload. I wish this was everything that they had done, but unfortunately it doesn't end there. Number 4. Autism Speaks has done more damage than people realize. Since the founding of the organization, Autism Speaks has done more damage to autistic people than they've helped. That "I Am Autism" commercial they made in 2009 wasn't the only video that caused controversy. A few years before that, they made a documentary film called Autism Every Day. The film explores families that have at least one autistic person in each family and interviews mainly the mother of each family. One of those interviews stood out. I'm going to play that interview, but I need to put a trigger warning on this. It is really disturbing. It involves talks of suicide and murder. If that stuff triggers you, I encourage you to not watch the video and click to this timestamp to skip ahead. If not, here it is.
I had sat in the car for about 15 minutes and actually contemplated putting Jody in the car and driving off the George Washington Bridge. It's only because of Lauren, the fact that I have another child, that I probably didn't do it.
That is the most messed up thing I've ever heard. Sure, the mother in that video later regretted ever making that comment, even though she still advocates for autism research. But it is just so infuriating to hear a mother say that, especially in front of her own daughter. Sadly, this type of behavior still happens to this very day. Recently, you had a mother kill her own autistic boy for whatever reason, but very despicable. And then in 2013, there was a 14-year-old girl named Izzy Stapleton who was almost murdered by her own mother, who was later convicted for attempted murder. Why? Because Izzy is autistic. At least it's a good thing that Izzy survived and is universally supported. Except, no, she isn't, unfortunately. Not even Dr. Phil, who brought her mother onto his show to tell her side of the incident, sided with Izzy and instead sympathized with the mother who, in case you already forgot, tried to murder her own daughter because of her autism. By the way, Dr. Phil, if you're watching this, that guy that created bum fights was right about you. In other words, you can go Anyway, one of the board members from Autism Speaks also sympathized with the mother, saying murder is murder. But some parents do not believe that there's any other option. We must develop and better communicate the existence of these other options so that they do not go off the final deep end. How despicable. There's also the fact that Autism Speaks has supported other questionable organizations, like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, who has a history, trigger warning, who has a history of abusive practices, like electroshock therapy so bad it could actually kill the victim. However, it is possible that Autism Speaks did not know what was going on at Judge Rotenberg, despite the fact that many of the victims from there spoke out and criticized the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center before Autism Speaks eventually cut ties with them. However, that is a whole nother can of worms in of itself. If you want to know more about that controversy, there is a great in-depth video made by Illuminaughtii, which will be provided in the description. I keep saying that a lot, huh? Number 5. Autism Speaks claims to have changed, but they actually haven't. But those seem to be from ages ago. Surely they have changed, and it would appear so. They did go from an entirely blue puzzle piece to, I guess this. I would say it's a bluish, purplish Hearst puzzle piece. I don't know. And made a video recently that they were making a new, more inclusive Autism Speaks. They've also put out a couple of autistic people under their board of directors, which was an issue before. They previously had no autistic people on their board of directors, and they've also dropped their search for a cure from their mission statement, as I have already mentioned it earlier in this video. Unfortunately, even though they're using inclusive language, many autistic people still don't trust Autism Speaks, myself included. They still support ABA therapy, which that is also another can of worms, which I'll discuss in another video. And the medical model of autism, which is, in other words, autism research. Basically treating autism as something that needs to be treated. They also have this absurd toolkit called the 100-Day Kit for Young Children. In it, they use harmful and fear-mongering information about autism. There is even a how to deal with the autism diagnosis, which they describe as something like the stages of grief, as if the child died, or at least the parent's ideal neurotypical child. There's also this gem. I felt angry when a child at my son's school was diagnosed with leukemia, around the time our son was diagnosed with autism. Everyone sent cards and cooked dinners for them. They didn't know I needed that kind of help too. When I let people know I needed help, they came through for me. Excuse me? But what the hell is this? Whoever said that is an entitled Karen. Yeah, I said it. Also, leukemia is cancer, which could kill someone diagnosed with leukemia if left untreated, and obviously needs to be treated. Autism is not any of those things, you piece of shit. And let's not forget the fact that they kidnapped a little girl and turned her into their pawn. For legal reasons, I meant it figuratively. They didn't actually kidnap a child. Now, let me explain. Sesame Street created a new Muppet a few years back. Her name is Julia, and she is autistic. She was created with the help of our lovely friends over at isnt, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. Despite seeing only one video that focused on Julia, I loved the character. They treated her like an actual person. As in, Julia, they treated her as Julia, not person with autism or autistic person. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed that particular video. I'll link the video so you can see it. I definitely recommend watching it if you haven't seen it already. Unfortunately, after some time working with isnt, Sesame Street decided to partner with, you guessed it, Autism Speaks, which then led isnt to end their partnership with Sesame Street. Despite isnt's warning Sesame Street not to partner with Autism Speaks numerous times. Since then, Autism Speaks put out ads which encourage viewers to have their child screened for autism and point to a resource on their website. On this website, there's a link that directs you to a test, which will then direct you to another link if tested positive. What is that link? The Autism Speaks 100-Day Kit for Young Children. It's a damn shame for Autism Speaks to take something that was created with heart and turn it into something that's different. They just jumped in and just took her. I know they didn't literally kidnap her, but they might as well have. And that's disgusting. These are the main reasons why Autism Speaks is such a bad organization. That they hurt autistic people more than they claim to help. They do not speak for us, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's obviously a lot more information than what I have covered in this video. Like I said, I'll link every video that mentions Autism Speaks in depth, made by Stephanie, Bethany, and Illuminaughtii. Again, I recommend watching those videos. I hope you found this video to be informative and made you realize how bad Autism Speaks really is. And please, do not give your money to Autism Speaks. Donate to the right autism organizations like the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. If you or anyone you know supports Autism Speaks, please reconsider. Hey, you've reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe for more autism content like this. Do click that notification bell to be updated about any new video that I put out. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay metal and keep stimming. Nothing about us without us. Which is probably the most infamous. I didn't press record on that thing, did I? Shit. Nope. Let's take it again.